My name is Marlee and this is my vegan journey. I'm 17 years old and I'm a senior in high school, and I plan to study sports management when I'm in college so I can become an athletic director, and I've been vegan for about 2 years. So it all kind of started when I was in 8th grade and we had to do a reading about how bad industrial farming was, and it was kind of telling us to eat more local foods and organic foods, even though it was still like eating meat and dairy. It was just kind of talking about that. So I already had knew in the back of my head how bad the living conditions were for animals who were in industrial agriculture, but I tried to kind of block it out because I just loved meat and dairy so much. And then when I was a sophomore I was going into my sophomore year in high school, my sister had become vegan a couple months before, and she repeatedly tried to get me to watch videos and documentaries, and I was always like, no, because I know I'm a very emotionally driven person, and I know that it would get to me and I would just cry, and I knew it was gonna be bad, and I was like, I love meat and dairy too much. So I tried not to watch any, but one night we came home and we were in Florida, and my sister showed me this video called The Truth About the Egg Industry. It was a 20-minute video by Aaron Janice, I think, and it was just, it got to me so bad. I just immediately started crying, but then I got hooked on these videos, and she showed me the dairy industry in 5 minutes, and I just kept watching them, and I just went vegan overnight. I didn't want to eat anymore, and that's kind of how everything happened. So after I made the decision to go vegan overnight, I became very passionate about it. I watched a lot of videos, speeches, documentaries, other YouTube videos about it. I just became so invested in it, and I was very emotional and angry, and a lot of things were going on. And I was also very fortunate to have my sister with me, who was able to make a lot of really fun, new, healthy vegan recipes that I didn't know were vegan, or maybe they were. I guess I thought prior to being vegan that it was very restrictive, and after going vegan and having all these fun recipes and seeing all the foods that are accidentally vegan, made me realize that I have so many options. And so that was really cool. And after we left Florida, I went to Michigan with my friends and her family, and her mom was very understanding of the situation that I was in and my eating journey, I guess. And she was able to make vegan options for me, and she and I both went to the store and we bought Boca crumbles and vegan hot dogs, and it was so nice to have her there to be so supportive. And she even got vegan egg replacer for me so that way we could make cupcakes while we were there. So that was really fun, and that was kind of it, I think. So what I found the most difficult at first is how my parents didn't understand how few options my sister and I had for going out to eat. So my parents would always want to go to fancier restaurants or steak houses, and there would only be a side salad or a platter of mixed vegetables, which would be literally this big. And so my mom didn't actually start coming around to the idea of veganism until this past January, whenever she actually gave Veganuary a try, and since then we've kind of moved forward in that direction where more of my family is becoming interested, and we're going to restaurants that have more options. And we're not going to strictly vegan or vegetarian restaurants, we're just going to places that have options for some of us who are vegan and some of us who aren't. So there's still that balance where everyone can enjoy a good meal. And so since then, it's just been so much better for my sister and I and my mom and everyone. So that's kind of it. So the best thing about being vegan, in my opinion, is like having a purpose in life, at least for right now, since I don't do anything. I'm a high school student. So it gives me a purpose because I feel like if I'm not the one sharing this information, I feel like nobody is. I mean, obviously a lot of people are, but a lot of people aren't talking about it in school settings. And so I get to share that information with my classmates, my peers, my teachers, and like my community. And once I reach these students who are very similar to me and can connect with me, they can share with their families, and it branches out. And so what I did in my AP language and composition class and in my English class in 10th grade was that I shared my passion about veganism, and I gave a speech, and I would tell them about how it affects the earth, how it affects your health, and just like the ethics of being vegan. And that was so great to be able to connect with people, and they would come up to me and talk to me about it afterwards and be like, this really inspired me, and like I didn't know these things about veganism. I didn't know about CAFOs or about the dairy industry or veal, and it's so great to be able to teach people about it and just kind of make a difference in their lives. And so that's kind of my favorite thing about being vegan. So my favorite food to cook at home is vegan mac and cheese, and I actually have like my own kind of recipe for this. Like I don't follow a recipe, I just kind of throw everything together, and it turns out really great every single time. So for the noodles, I like to use rotini because it holds on to the sauce better, and whenever I cook it, I put it in the pot and I fill it up with almond milk. So I actually cook the noodles in the almond milk, and while it's cooking, I'll add in some onion powder, garlic powder, white pepper, black cracked pepper, and just a little bit of salt, but not a lot, otherwise it'll get like really salty because the cheese has a lot of salt in it. So then once the noodles are soft on the outside but still a little bit crunchy and very, very al dente, I'll add in the vegan cheese. So my favorite cheese to use is the So Delicious cheese, the mozzarella and the cheddar. But if I don't have time to go to Whole Foods and get some, because that's like the only place around me that has it, I'll just use the Daiya cheese, and I like to use the cheddar and the mozzarella. And then I'll put it in, and I'll put the lid on, and then it'll melt, and then I'll stir it up, and it'll be ready. And it's so good. And every single time we have like a party, a tailgate, like, or even if I'm bringing it into a class for something, like a club meeting, I'll bring it in, and nobody ever knows that it's vegan. Like nobody can believe it's vegan. It's so good. And then whenever I actually go out to eat, my favorite restaurant is Bibi Bop because they have tofu and purple rice, and I like their bean sprouts so much, and their potatoes are so good, and their teriyaki sauce is phenomenal. So, yeah. So what I want you to know about veganism is that you really need to go into this with an open mindset, especially whenever you're trying new things, because if you're going into it thinking that it's going to be bad and you're not going to have fun, you're not going to like it, and you're just not going to have a good time, then that's probably going to be your outcome, which is like very similar to whenever I first started going to spin class with my sister. The very first time going, I didn't want to go. I was really negative about it the whole time, and I complained the entire car ride, and I was like, I'm not gonna have fun, I'm gonna hate it, I'm gonna be tired, like and I went, and it was so much fun, but I was just in this negative mindset that I didn't really allow myself to have a good time. And then the next time that I ended up going, I was just like, you know what, I'm not gonna think about it in a negative mindset, I'm just gonna be positive, I'm gonna just have fun and do the whole spin class. And it was so much fun, and I ended up really liking it, and I love spin class now. So I think veganism is very similar, and kind of trying anything new is the same way. So just going into it, being open-minded and not thinking about it in a negative way, and you'll be fine. You'll be totally fine. Thanks for letting me share my vegan journey with you, and best of luck with yours.